Okay, so golf's most exciting event is finally upon us. The 2014 Ryder Cup is here. Hi guys, I'm Rotary Swing instructor Chris Tyler, and this week I'm going to be focusing in on the #1 points leader from the European team, Rory against the #1 points leader from the USA team, Bubba Watson. I'm going to be showing you two common moves that they make in their golf swings that help them bomb the golf ball further than a lot of people out there and also help them maintain a lot of consistency. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so now that the stage is set for the best players in the world to go toe-to-toe in the 40th edition of the Ryder Cup, I want to spend some time this week not necessarily going over the differences between these golf swings, because it's no surprise that both of these swings are wildly different. But I want to talk to you about some of the common areas that are shared between some of the longer players and more consistent players in golf today. And obviously Bubba leading the PGA Tour in total driving distance, and Rory is in a very close third place in total driving distance. These are some great players to really kind of show you those two areas that we should focus on in order to be able to maintain a lot of speed, #1, and also a lot of consistency. So let's go ahead and get started here. I've drawn a couple lines on the screen here. You can see I've drawn what we call the tush line. This is a line straight down from the back of the rear end down to the ground. And I've also drawn a spine angle line on both players. So you can see I've got a line right down the spine and then a line right down the back of the tush. And both of these are great to understand in your golf swing if you're going to be able to maintain posture through the hitting area. Because #1, that's not also critical for power, but it's also critical for consistency. So let's go ahead and take a look here. You're going to see that as I get Bubba up to the top part of his golf swing, his hips have not come forward of this line. You can see that he's maintained his spine angle beautifully, and very common from Rory as well. You're going to see as Rory starts to work up into the top part of his golf swing, you can see that he's maintained his spine angle beautifully. His hips have not come forward. So what we're doing here is we're looking to build power by rotating the big muscles in your body. It's called the stretch shortening cycle. So any muscle group that's really wound up, those things can fire faster. And those big muscles in your core, your obliques, your abs, those are big muscles that are going to help you generate a lot of power. Now, a lot of times what we'll see from students is that as they're moving the hands and arms into the vertical plane, we'll see their spine angle start to change. We'll see that start to move a little bit more on the vertical side, and then in turn, the player or the student doesn't necessarily feel the buildup of those big muscles. And if you haven't, in your golf swing, if you haven't really started to feel those muscles really contract or build up that power, then chances are your spine angle could be changing. So it's one of those things you definitely want to be able to analyze, because you're going to need that to be able to build a lot of power and efficiency into your move. So let's go ahead and start down here with Rory. I'm going to get him down into the hitting area, and you're going to see as he gets down into impact, you can see that he's kept his hips back beautifully, and he's also maintained his spine angle. So this is where he's actually able to unload the power, and because he's rotating around his axis without having the hips come forward, he's been able to hit a lot of consistent style golf shots. So he's basically taken that build of power, and now he's unloading it, and then he's keeping the hips back for maximum consistency. You got to think of the spine as kind of like the matriarch of the consistent world. We want to just be rotating around that spine angle with very little change to it. If you think of yourself, or if you think of the spine, or you allow it to straighten up as you go back, then in turn what that can do is create a lot of timing in your golf swing. So when the spine is moving vertical, then guess what? It's got to go back down in the hitting area in order for you to put the bat on the ball. So I always think of this as if you don't want the spine to be like a carousel. You want it to be able to maintain, and we want to rotate around the spine. All right, so the same thing here with Bubba. You're going to see exactly the same kind of thing as he starts down. You're going to see as he gets into the hitting area, he's actually increased his spine angle just a fraction. And then as he's at impact here, now he's got virtually the same spine angle that he had at address, and his hips are back as well. And they actually maintain this angle as long as possible through the hitting area and beyond. So you can see that Bubba's still in that spine angle that he was at address. And the same thing with Rory here as well. You're going to see exactly that. They maintain this angle very long throughout the finish and into the follow through. And that's where the consistency comes in, and that's where the power comes out of the body. So what we want to do is we're looking to be able to maintain consistency #1 by keeping the hips back. All right, we got a great video on the site. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, called the tush line. That's a great video to give you some good understanding on how to keep the hips back. We also want to make sure that we're rotating around the axis. Okay, so rotating properly around your axis without having any sort of drastic change to the shape of your spine is also going to help build power, and then it's also going to allow you to be consistent. All right, so those are the two things I want you to focus on your golf swing. these are some of the moves that you'll see that's very common. I know that when we look at tour players, golf swings look drastically different. One of the most common things you'll see is their impact positions and their control of the club face. But you'll also see a lot of the great players in golf today being able to keep the hips back and then maintaining spine angle as well. And that's one of the most pivotal parts of golf, is consistency and being able to use efficiency from the body. So I encourage you guys to make sure that you take a good look at your golf swings, make sure that you're keeping those hips back, make sure that you're maintaining spine as long as you can throughout the golf swing. We'll play some consistent golf. And I know this year's Ryder Cup is going to be extremely exciting. There's a lot of great players, and I hope for a really exciting event across the board. All right, guys, so let's get out there and play some great golf, maintain a lot of consistency, build that power up in those big muscles, get out there and bomb it past your friends, and let's play some great golf. I hope you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, so those of you that are joining us on our YouTube channel, I'm going to go ahead and include a special bonus clip on the tush line video. This video is going to teach you how to keep the hips back in the hitting area for maximum consistency, and it's also going to help you learn how to get the body or the lower body working effectively through the hitting area. Remember, if you like this video, go ahead and click the like button below. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and post those up, and I'll help you out as best I can. Now let's have a great Ryder Cup this year. I wish all the players the best of success. I'm going to go ahead and cheer for the U.S. this time, so let's go USA. Have a great day.
Losing the tush line in the downswing is a really, really common problem that a lot of golfers struggle with, and they don't understand why, and they don't understand how to fix it. And really, it's a very simple fix. It takes practice to change it, just like everything else does, but it's very simple to understand what causes it. For 99% of the golfers out there, it involves spinning their hips. So let's look at what that looks like when I do it incorrectly and we lose that tush line. First of all, let's understand what the tush line is. If you imagine just dropping a straight line, as you can see in the background, the black piece of wood here that is representing a line drawn straight down from my hip or the back of my rear, as I go into my downswing, a lot of golfers move away from it because they push off that right side. That pushes the hip under and toward the target line. Notice now my hip, instead of being back here, is this way, and I stand up and I lose my spine angle. Tends to leave me coming too far from the inside, also very hard on the back. So how do we fix this? Well, the key is to do the exact opposite. Instead of rotating, which tries to get your body to create this straight line condition, that's why you lose all your angles and stand up out of it, because your body, when you start twisting it like this, tries to straighten up and it can't maintain those angles. What you need to feel is the squat move. So as we go to the top of the swing, I'm actually going to increase my angle, and my hips are actually going to move further back as I'm leveraging the ground, now pushing my feet into the ground. And as I pull my arms down to release, I have no problem keeping my tush line where I started at address.